to be honest, I see a more balanced Eagles team than anybody else in the division. I mean, run game is solid for the Eagles. The pass can will be solid with the addition of Sam Bradford being the general at the helm. And, on defense, they upgraded. They were already, one of the top defenses in the division. I think they only got better with the addition of Maxwell and Walter Thurman being at the safe position, not worrying about, them biting on the play fake and getting beat over the top. That's actually a convenience that this team now can afford for this defense now. So, I mean, I see the most balanced team right now, even in the NFC right at this point.
Barrett Brooks, Breakfast on Broad on the Comcast Network, 6 to 8 a.m. You played offensive line. You watched Dallas's offensive line last night. I was surprised. I mean, Romo threw the ball 45 times. They ran the ball 23 times for 80 yards, 3.5. Does that team look the same offensively as the team they had last year with Murray?
No, absolutely not. You can tell the balance of power is definitely shifted to the Eagles just in that aspect. I mean, it's not as though they couldn't run the ball, but I don't think that they really invested enough talent in the running back position to warrant them to think that they can run the ball maybe, 50-50 as far as ratio, or even, 55 or 45. I think it's more so the fact that they don't have Murray. It's put them in an awkward position in the NFC East division.
Yeah, to me, if I'm saying what is the definition of their offense, who are they? What defines the Cowboys' offense? Last year, they're a team that wants to wear you down, and then Romo can make play. This is a team, to me, Barrett, that looks like they're asking Romo this year to win games for them.
Well, this is the focal point of this team. It was like that last year, but with Murray and the way he played last year, they could kind of be, a little more even in their ratio of run to pass. They can't do it now simply because they don't have anybody back because they feel comfortable enough to hand the reins to and be that every down back. They don't have that. So Randall, talked all that stuff about leaving meat on the bone and who's hungry. Well, he looks anemic at this point. He's really do anything to set himself apart from anybody running the ball for him. The Eagles have upgraded, and there's just not enough balls on the Eagles team to disperse, with the amount of weapons and the talent that they have. This is going to be a great matchup tonight because I think Atlanta is a team that's looking for an identity. Of course, they brought in Quinn as their defensive minded head coach. Just because they didn't have a defense last year, it was like a running water, just running straight through their defense. I do believe that this will be a blowout. It's not going to be as close as others are thinking. I think a lot of people are thinking, they'll sleep on. Even the line in Vegas have it at only 3 points. This defense cannot handle it.
Yeah, Eagles have a top 5 offense in 2 years under Chip Kelly. The Falcons have a bottom 5 defense the last 2 years, and they were, I think, statistically in the NFL last year. This would seem like a bad matchup, even if the Falcons are improved. Do you think that the Eagles' offense is just too much for Atlanta's defense, even with Dan Quinn being a defensive-minded guy right now?
Absolutely. Just because he has the defensive scheme and the mindset to really be a good defensive team, they just don't have the talent right now. I mean, who are they going to match up against Sproles coming out the backfield? Of course you can't line up a linebacker with him as the Green Bay Packers saw. So who are they going to put him? They're going to put Moore on him, William Moore. The safety, yes, he's a good player, but I don't think that he has the athletic talent to really stick a guy like Sproles. Or up front, can you handle this offensive line coming off the ball with you? I think that the offensive line of the Eagles will reestablish the line of scrimmage maybe 3 yards down the field. And when you have a guy that comes like Murray coming downhill and Matthews coming downhill, it's going to be hard for them really to pick their poison on which they want to stop. Do they want to stop Brady the passer, Bradley the passer, or Sam Bradford the passer, or do you want to stop Murray or Matthews the runner?
Yeah, Barrett Brooks is with us here from Breakfast on Broad on the Comcast Network. The Eagles, they get after opposing quarterbacks, and they sack them. Chip Kelly, he's not the kind of guy that says, hey, we hurry the quarterback. We get you and we bring you down. And I think when you have a pass rush that gets to the quarterback, the Falcons' offensive line has been a big problem for them. How are they going to be able to protect Matt Ryan? They have great weapons, but will he be able to have the time to get Julio Jones and Roddy White involved?
Well, I don't think so. I think that the Eagles have really invested a lot in their linebacker position. The two interior guys with, Kiko Alonso and Michael Kendricks are going to be two athletic guys. You're going to see a lot more defensive schematically blitzing from these guys, kind of like the old Pittsburgh, the cross dog blitz, the MEB blitzes. Those are all things that you're going to have to really sit down and game plan, and nobody has any really film on these two new players. Well, Kiko Alonso is new, but the whole defensive playbook is opening up because he is such a good athlete and runs well sideline to sideline and can get through there. He looked a little small, but I do see him doing some things. And we all know that the guys up front, Cedric Thorpe, Benny Logan, and Fletcher Cox, will make it a point to play 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage of this offensive line.
Yeah.
They're bringing in people every week, for the past 2 or 3 weeks to try to see if they can solidify this offensive line. It's just not happening.
Barrett, I don't know if you ever played for a first-year coach and were around for the third year, but I would have to assume that Chip Kelly is further along, more organized, and much more comfortable as an NFL coach. And whatever, things that he was adjusting to get to this point, I would have to assume he's a better NFL head coach today than he was in year 1 and 2. And that could be a big difference for this Eagles team.
Absolutely. I did have the experience my rookie year going into a rookie coach with Ray Rhodes. He was his first time being a head coach, and, he stayed there 4 years and was out his fourth year, and I was gone after he left. So I've been through that, and I've been on the opposite end of the spectrum where he didn't progress as a head coach. He didn't really get better as a head coach. So, he had to leave, but I see Chip going in the opposite direction. He's going up. He understands what it is to be a head coach now. He's become a GM now. He's really honed in on being a quality NFL coach, and I have to applaud him for that. Even though we don't know at this point if his decision making as a GM for the Eagles is panning out, but it's looking like it's going in the right direction.
Barrett Brooks is with us here, former Eagle Super Bowl champion with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and, of course, Breakfast on Broad on the Comcast Network, 6 to 8 a.m. on the Comcast Network. And, of course, Barrett, you look at Sam Bradford. You saw yesterday Nick Foles, I thought, played well, but you didn't see a lot of great quarterback play. Luck did not play great. You saw Peyton Manning struggle. I thought Eli last night, just bad decisions in terms of clock management, completed 55%. Sam Bradford tonight, is this a game where you think that the Eagles lean on Bradford, or do you think this is a Murray-won game?
This is an interesting quarterback battle. Matt Ryan, Matty Ice, is he the top, quarterback that they drafted him in the first round to be? And then here, Sam Bradford, is he a liability? We all know that he's gifted as far as the skill set to be a great quarterback in this league. His timing is impeccable. He can get the ball out, but can he stay healthy? That's the biggest thing. It's not whether he has the tools to be a good quarterback. The thing is, can he stay on the field 16 games, play consistently without being injured? It was never a thing on whether he had the talent or not. It was always his ability to be available, and that's the biggest thing. If he can be available, he can be a top-tier quarterback. And, Matty, I got to see where he's going. At this point, he got some definitely quality weapons and Roddy White and Julio Jones. So let's see where he's at. This will be a good quarterback matchup just because we want to see if these two young guys are going in the right direction. I look forward to it.
Yeah, me too. And some of the other things I'm looking forward to is some of the young guys. One being Jordan Matthews and Nelson Aguilar. The Eagles went ahead and let Jeremy Maclin go. They traded away Deshaun Jackson, totally rebuilt their wide receiving core. Do you think that they are adequate enough at that position? Do you think that Matthews can be a top, number one wide receiver?
Well, he has no choice but to fall into that role. He has no choice but to go in and show where he is in his progression as being the number one instead of being the number two Maclin. I think he has all the skill set to do it. He would be a great possession receiver. He doesn't have the true speed of a guy that can take the top off the defense, but what he does bring is a smartness to the game, and he also brings an awareness of where he's supposed to be at and the timing of the offense. So that aspect, he's with understanding where he's supposed to be at in Chip Kelly's offense. So I do see him being one of the upper echelon receivers in his league, especially in NFC. He's a special talent. He's big. He's strong. He's fast. But the biggest thing he brings to the table is that he knows what he's supposed to do in Chip Kelly's offense. So he's available to get the ball. He understands space. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do, if he's going to step out and be that number one guy.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see, you're right, his role. Do you see him as just a slot? It seems like they just see him as a slot guy. Is he going to evolve into a outside guy as this season or as this career moves on, or is the slot the right spot for him?
I think the slot is the right spot for him because you have to be savvy in that position. You have to be a bigger guy, and it's not necessarily how fast you are when you're in the slot, knowing where to be and how to get there and being on time when you are there. He showed that he has pretty good hands, but his availability to be available in the middle of the field, understanding where the route spacing is supposed to be at, that's where his work on this team really clicks in. This is where what makes him and sets him apart from being just a regular receiver, possession receiver. I think that he could take it to another level just because of Chip's scheme. You don't know where the ball is going, and he's going to flourish in his offense because they have so many other weapons around him that they're going to have to pick their poison. If you're going to, pick the running back, you're going to stop the running back, or you're going to stop the tight end and Ertz, or you're going to stop the receivers. Either way you go, Chip Kelly has an answer on where the ball is going other than what you picked.
Yeah, tonight, though, it's interesting because if you look on the other side, you got Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Roddy White, their offensive line, their running game, Tevin Coleman, young kid. They got the kid Freeman, who's a little nicked up. So you're probably going to see a lot of the passing game. Maxwell, Carroll, and that third guy plus the safety spot. Have the Eagles upgraded the secondary enough to be able to contend with a team that's going to attack them through the air?
Well, when you get rid of Allen, when you get out there Fletcher, and when you get rid of Williams, it's already an upgrade for this defense. You got a safety right now who's converted corner, who plays a slot, and that's actually what you are when you play in this Davis defense. He is a safety that's going to play over the slot a lot. He's going to know where his run fits are, and that's the biggest thing as far as his transformation from being a corner to a safety. I think he's going to be all right. He's definitely an upgrade from Allen because he won't get beat over the top. He won't bite on the run fake because he really doesn't want to be involved with that running anyways. But he is a good pro as far as understanding where he fits in that defense. Now, we're talking about the other positions, Maxwell. We're thinking he's solid, but, hey, we paid him number one shutdown corner money. So why isn't he following the best player on the field in Julio Jones wherever he is? That's where I want to see where this defense is going. Has he evolved enough to put this guy one-on-one against the best player on the field, and that's Julio Jones? Are they going to have him shadow him, or are they going to put somebody else on him and put a safety over the top on him and put him on the second guy in Roddy White? I don't know at this point what direction they're going, but we did pay him number one corner, shutdown corner type of money. So he should go where Julio Jones goes. If he doesn't, I think it'll be a travesty and it'll be all for naught on what they wanted in the shutdown corner. Bring him in as the number one prospect at corner this year. Yeah,
that'll be interesting. I agree with you to see if they end up moving him around. I think the people in Atlanta have kind of thought, I think listening to some of the stuff down there, they think that Maxwell's going to follow him around, but we really haven't been given any of that indication watching this team so far in the preseason. They really haven't played their hand there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a chess match, and at this point the Eagles have all the crucial chess pieces. It's just putting it together. Although these guys are brought in and are definitely upgrades from what they were last year, they still haven't played a solid game together. They still haven't played in game time situation as a full defense of the whole conglomerate of everybody playing together. That's yet to be seen now. They practice all day, but there's a difference when you're in a game with live bullets flying over your head. Because, are these guys going to duck? Are these guys going to keep charging forward? We need to see this, but it all comes from these guys playing together, understanding where each other's going to be at, and that cohesiveness is going to be the difference on whether this defense is going to be good or this defense has a chance to be great along with this offense.
Barrett, you watched a lot of the games yesterday, and I'm sure I said before, I think we might have talked about this even last year, so many sloppy games. Is that a lot because the preseason? These teams just don't play enough, and training camps are so non-contact anymore that these September games are almost like preseason games as they get ready for October and November and December.
Absolutely. It's a product of two things. It's a product of the camps being so short. There's no time to really develop a cohesiveness between players because you don't have enough time to. And also, it also has a lot to do with the fact that they don't hit each other. There's no pass. There's no two-a-days anymore. There's no chance for you to go out and impose your will even on your teammates because you don't have that opportunity as much as you did before. When I first got in the league, we had, 6.5 weeks of training camp, and 2 other weeks, that you had full speed when you were in the mandatory camps, So all that stuff gives you a sense of where you're supposed to go. But when you only have 3.5 weeks of camp, 4 weeks of camps, and you only can hit one time, there's no true two-a-days, where do you get your work from? I don't understand it. I don't see how these young guys do it. I guess there's more the emphasis on you going in shape and putting a lot of pressure on yourself to learn that defense because a lot of the guys when I was playing used camp to get in shape and used it to learn the offense. You can't do that now because it's just too short a season for them to do it.
Barrett, without Dez Bryant, who are the Cowboys without Dez? Now you take him out. I know they tried to throw the ball. They threw it 45 times last night. They threw 41 times in one game last year. Other than that, that's the most they threw all season last year was 38 times. They threw 45 last night. Now, no Dez Bryant. Is Dallas going to be able to get through without Dez the next couple of weeks? You know what?
I'm not glad this kid got hurt, because he's a great talent. You never want anybody to get injured. But, at this point, Dallas's hands are tied behind their back. You're going to be a passing team. Your number one option has left the team. You spend all this money on a guy, being out there and rolling the dice on and not paying another player that he's leaving and going to your rival team, and that's in Murray coming up here. That really puts a square peg in a round hole when it comes to what their identity was last year on offense and what they wanted to be this year. You have this great offensive line, you can't do anything with it because you can't run the ball effective. Number one, you tried and you couldn't because you had running back by committee. The second, Dez Bryant was going to get the ball, and he's that good of a talent that he would get open to get those balls. So now you don't have that. Can Williams be that number one receiver? That's yet to be seen because he's been lost a lot of the time out there, and you don't even know where he is. So I don't know. Beasley's a pretty good player. He can definitely play well in the slot, but can he be the number 2 that Dallas needs to be a good offense? I don't know. I'm anxiously waiting to see this. And next week's gonna be even bigger barn burner.
Next week's going to be unbelievable. Starting tomorrow, we'll recap the Eagles Falcons, and then of course we'll turn our attention to that one. Barrett, Eagles and the Falcons Monday night. Your favorite Monday night recollection from your playing days?
Oh, my favorite Monday night. Oh man, you know what? I would have to say it wasn't with the Eagles. It was actually when I was playing with the Steelers. It was a Monday night against the Baltimore Ravens, and it was one of those games where. Everybody was hitting. We were in Baltimore, and anytime we played against each other, it was always a slugfest. And it was better to play them and go into a bye than to play them and go into a game because half your roster would be hurt after that game, just the intensity of what it was. So Monday Night Football, back then it was Hank Williams playing, bro. It was a big time event, man. So this Monday night, I can't wait, and we're gonna go out there and the Birds gonna win at least by 12.
Let me ask you before we get into your official pick, Dallas, Philly, Dallas, New York, or Pittsburgh, Baltimore? Which games were more fun?
I would have to say Dallas, Philadelphia. That was always a rivalry. In fact, I didn't go to Dallas. I had an offer to go to Dallas and took less money to go to Detroit rather than go to Dallas. So, it's almost an innate hatred that I have for the Cowboys. So
I like that. I didn't know that. I knew you played in Detroit. I didn't know you spurned Dallas to do so.
Well, absolutely. It was like, it was a couple grand. Well, a couple $100,000 less to go there. So.
All right, give me your official pick for tonight. Eagles, Falcons. Who do you got?
I'm going 38, 20, 26, going with the Birds.
38-26 Eagles from Barrett Brooks. And don't forget our Pick the Perfect score tonight at 5:30. Barrett is ineligible, but 38-26 is his official pick for tonight. All right, Eagles and the Falcons coverage starts at 6 o'clock here on 97.3. That's Barrett's Breakdown. All right, buddy, we'll talk to you next week, pal.
Talk to you next week, bro.